Hello everyone, and welcome to this latest instalment of Engine Snacks super quick videos looking at key moments from great games. I'm Grandmaster Matthew Sadler, and we are looking at the game between Black Marlin and Chiron in the TCC Season 22 Qualification League, which is going on at the moment. Chiron is a very strong engine that hadn't played at the TCC for a while, so it's starting again in the qualification league. But it's proving to be a pretty tough opponent. Black Marlin is a newcomer, but has been doing extremely well. But here it really ran up against quite a gorgeous tactic. So looking at the position, White's got nice queenside pawns, also pretty nice square on d4 for the knight. But of course the light squares are pretty weak, particularly the kingside light squares. And when you've got a light squared bishop, a diagonal like this with a king on g2 and a knight, well, only protected by the king, you don't have to think too long before you play the move d4. The tactics, however, the way that it works, are quite amazing. So after d4, knight takes d4, we play queen d5, and we're setting the queen up, pointing towards the king, and we're setting up something like rook takes d4 or rook takes h4. White's got a few alternatives. Moving the king out of the way is possible, but then there's a lovely idea here. Bishop b7, again, just threatening a discovered attack like this. And we can try rook h2, which seems to defend g2, h1. It seems to defend pretty much everything you need. But there's a gorgeous little move here, rook takes h4, which basically overloads this rook on h2. G takes h4 isn't legal, of course, and rook takes h4 allows queen g2. So Black Marlin played f3, which is pretty natural. But now the tactics really start to flow. So queen e5 was played, hitting the pawn on g3, and that's quite awkward. I mean, you don't want to play a move like f4. We're going to get stuff in like queen d5 again. There's even maybe rook takes g3 check in this position. So lots and lots of tactics there. So Black Marlin played the move knight e2. Defending the queen on c3, obviously, and defending the pawn on g3. Ooh, when you hear about one piece doing two things, then that's often a trigger to start looking for combinations. And, rook takes g3 check is very strong, of course. Knight takes g3 lets the queen be captured, and then afterwards the rook on b2. So White plays king f2. And this looks like, a nice sidestep. Looks like White's just absorbing the attack, but Black has seen much further. So rook takes e3 in this position. Hitting the queen on c3, of course. Queen e3, rook g2 check takes queen e3 is pretty ropey for White. I mean, we've got bishop b7 coming in. This king's weak. We've got c3. Black's clearly better in this position. Probably winning for an engine, of course. But after rook takes e3, White can actually play the move queen takes e5 here. And, we've got two rooks hanging. You've got to capture a queen back. Looked to me like Black had overdone it. But amazingly, we've got rook takes f3 check, king g2, rook takes e5, king f3, bishop b7 check. Look at that. Skewering the king on f3 and the rook on h1. But it's not over. I mean, in the game, Black Marlin played king f2, and after bishop h1, Black was a couple of pawns up and won the ending comfortably. But what about king f4? What we're doing, obviously the rook on h1 is hanging, but we're attacking the rook on e5. And after rook e4 check, we play the move king g5. And, you're still not out of the woods there, because giving this check with rook e4 has blocked the attack of the bishop on the rook on h1. But now you get the absolutely amazing point of this combination. And I mean, really, the initial move d4 you could play intuitively, but pretty soon you have to calculate all this stuff. So it's quite a combination. You play f6 check, king f5, and now the beautiful move rook g4. So we're reopening this diagonal, the a8 h1 diagonal, attacking the rook, and rook g1 is met by, can you see it? Bishop to c8, checkmate. Beautiful. You know, the rook covering the fourth rank, the bishop giving check, all the other pawns covering the squares. So really impressive game there from Chiron, and yeah, playing excellently so far in the qualification league.